What's up guys, Doomsday here. Today we're back again. In this video we're going to be playing some Jarvan in the jungle. So in my last video, if you watched it, it was my first one in a while, but I actually played Xin Zhao, and I talked about how I thought Xin Zhao was still one of the strongest junglers and one of the best all-around junglers. But in this video, actually I want to talk about a really good pick into Xin Zhao. And that's because for pretty much every single jungler, I like to have a solid sort of a counter pick, or at least a pick that I think has a favorable matchup. And again, Xin Zhao, I definitely think it's Jarvan, and I think Jarvan just does super well into Xin Zhao, and we are going to see why in this match. But to start off, we're going to clear our red buff, and now I'm looking at the lanes, and I'm trying to decide which scuttle do I want to play for, and I'm sort of leaning towards the bot side matchup that I want to play for, towards the bot side scuttle. And the reason for that is just looking at our top side matchup with the Fiora versus Yasuo, that's definitely not a favorable matchup for us for a long time until Yasuo gets a bunch of items. So I'd opt to go for this bot side scuttle instead. Plus we have champs like Morgana that has their root. As you can see, our top lane is getting kind of destroyed, so good thing I'm not playing for that scuttle, because then the Fiora would rotate first, and that'd be unfortunate. So I'm looking at this bot side matchup, and I see that they're getting pretty low, and I see that they're looking for an engage over here. And I'm able to get a really good gank off, knock up the misfortune, and force the flash. We get one kill. We trade 1 for 1 here. But I think that's solid, saying that our bot side was also kind of losing. So what do I notice over here? Nobody is on their blue buff yet. So what does that mean? If nobody's on their blue buff with that ward that I placed there, then that means that the enemy jungler just did a one-sided jungle clear, and they only cleared their red side jungle. And now they're going for the top scuttle. So I'm pretty sure Xin Zhao is on that top side scuttle. Now, if he's on the top scuttle on the top side of the map, what does that mean? His next options are either ganking the mid lane or the top lane, or keep on farming. And as we could see there, he did look for the mid lane gank. And that's why it's pretty important to tell which side or in which scuttle the jungler is going to go for, because that pretty much tells you what 2 angles he has to gank. Because if he's clearing that top scuttle in the top river, he's either going to gank that top lane Yasuo or the mid lane, because those are his only options. So now I'm actually looking for this gank again, and I actually hung out for a while, and I made sure not to leave. And there's a very specific reason for why I wanted to stay in this lane. And over here now, I actually see their Zed was rotating from mid, so I tried to get a quick reset in, but the Xin Zhao is able to show up, and I really want you to tell what did I do perfect in that escape. That escape worked out really, really well for one specific reason, and I'll talk about that in a second. So sadly, actually, my teammates were not so fortunate, and they kind of got destroyed, but I was able to get out at least. Okay, but going back to why I stayed on that bot side of the map, the main reason for that is after I got the first kill onto the Senna and we forced the flash from misfortune, that means all their summoner spells and everything are down. And if you just look at that bot lane matchup, you have champs like Morgana and Senna who are root heavy, they're high CC. Meaning without these kinds of flashes and mobility up, it's a pretty easy gank. Because also their duo with the Senna plus the misfortune, they don't have any mobility abilities. They can't dash or anything like that. So without their flashes up, if somebody can just land one root or knock up, it's pretty much a guaranteed free kill. So I'm pretty sure Fiora had that worded up. They seemed to back off right as I got up there. But now as for the escape onto the Xin Zhao, there's something that I did there that was really, really smart that a lot of people might not have noticed. And it has to do a lot with gap closing. As you can tell, if you watched my Xin Zhao video yesterday, or it was 2 days ago actually, I talked a lot about gap closing on Xin Zhao, but pretty much what I did here was anti-gap closing. So when the Xin Zhao saw me, I knew what he was going to do was use his third ability to jump onto me and then just use his entire combo. So now let's say that I had used my third, and my escape is my third ability plus my first ability. Now let's say I had used my third ability plus my first ability right away, then Xin Zhao would have just used his third ability onto me and I would have no more escape and he would just be able to kill me. And I'm actually getting really bad frame drops right now. You can see my FPS just going crazy down to 30, and it's really, really choppy right now. And this happens for a lot of the match, unfortunately, but pretty much if you go back and you watch that engage from the Xin Zhao, one, it baits out his abilities. So what I did was I waited for him to use his third ability onto me before I flagged away. And the reason for that is after he uses his third ability onto me and then I flag away, he has no way of getting back onto me. And that's really just the key point of it. So over here, I see the sun is super low. They flash away. I start up this dragon. I know they're really low. They just burn flash. So I'm trying to ping my teammates to head this way. I see the sun step up, and I'm able to get a good kill here. Now I'm able to ult the Misfortune. And actually, this is another reason why I picked Jarvan in this matchup, just because Jarvan works super well into these champs that can't get out of your ultimate. Champs like Misfortune, Senna, they don't have any dashes or anything, compared to other champs such as like Tristana or Ezreal that could easily just jump out of your ult and make it so much harder to play. But now I'm pinging my teammates. Our mid laner definitely needs to rotate. I don't know why they're just sitting in mid, but we're able to get the good knock up there. And now it looks like we're finally going to be able to get this dragon here. Over here, I'm just looking to secure this. I'm able to get it now. I'm just trying to get my flag up so I can get out of here. Take the plant away just to be safe, that Zed doesn't jump over the wall and ult me or something. And now we're looking pretty good. I already have 4 kills. And now my next option is, what do I want to do? Do I really want to play for that Herald is the question. And the answer to that is no. And it's just because of our top lane matchup again. The Yasuo versus Fiora matchup just is such a bad matchup for us that if a skirmish happens on that side of the map, it will not go well for us. So what do I look to do instead of fighting for that Herald? I look for a play on this bot side of the map again. Because at this point, I'm like, I can't really play on the top side because we're going to lose that fight. Instead, I'm just going to look to snowball our dragon lane super hard so that our ADC gets so fed and can just hard carry this match is the goal. So I'm looking for this. I see Xin Zhao in the mid over here, and this is really key. I see him heading up towards that Herald side. So now I actually know that he's not going to be around, and I won't have to worry about a counter gank or anything. So I'm waiting for this wave to get shoved in, and then I'm looking for a dive. Senna gets a great, or not Senna, Morgana gets a great root in. Sadly, they go down. I actually forget to stone plate. If I would have stone plated, I definitely would have lived there. That was just unfortunate. The FPS drops are really, really screwing me over. As you can see, it keeps on dropping down to 30 frames per second, which is not the best. But we get the turret from this, so I think that was a pretty good trade. See, and it's just getting our ADC fed, which is the main goal of this, because they got all the turret gold themselves, plus we got the first turret. And they didn't even get Herald yet. I think they're on it right now. Or actually, no, they're not on it. They're pushing the top turret instead. So now I'm heading up this way. Everybody's resetting. And also, getting that first tier bot turret, that really just opens up the map. So now look at how aggressive our Morgana can play against him. And they don't have to be worried about the enemy just retreating to the turret. So as you can see now, playing on this side of the map, it's super hard just because we have no advantage at all. We can't push up. It's really hard for us to get good vision. So that was why I just opted to play for the dragon lane instead. So now we're backing off. I'm trying to let my Lux poke around a bit. It's really key to play around your carries when you're playing a big bruiser like this. Sometimes it's not best for you to engage, actually, but it's just best for you to pretty much let your backline poke. So right now, I just tanked up everything. My stone plate completely carried there. And my Lux was able to just put in the work, really. So now we made him waste like most of their abilities. And we got a kill there. So sadly, our Lucian went down in the bot side. So I'm starting to head down here and seeing if I could do something. So I'm waiting for my teammates to get here. I'm not engaging by myself because I might actually die there if I do that. And see what I mean again? With the ultimate against champs like Senna, Misfortune, it's so easy to get the kill onto him. And that's just what I really like about Jarvan. And I really do think that Jarvan is like the most underrated jungler. Like Jarvan is my highest win rate jungler. I think it's like Jarvan and Vi are my 2 highest. My win rate on Jarvan is like 75% or something like that. It's pretty crazy for like, I probably have like 80 games or something on Jarvan. And I just think he's super strong if you pick him in the right scenarios. But a lot of people just don't realize that. Like on every tier list I see, people always rank him at like B tier or something like that. But I honestly think he's at least A tier. Maybe even S in some scenarios, just depending on the matchups and what's going on. So over here now, we get a good route onto the Xin Zhao. Sadly, we're not able to kill him. I think the Xin Zhao ult definitely saved him, blocking off the extra damage. But one thing that you could do with Jarvan that's really nice is chain CCing. So right now, I actually see these people. I just stone plate and flag right in, and look at this damage. I could tank up so much. Just ult, and see what I mean? Just trap him in there, and there's absolutely nothing they could do at all. And the reason why Jarvan does so well into Xin Zhao is just because Xin Zhao is supposed to be an early game champion that turns into a tank in the late game. But the thing is Jarvan is essentially the same thing, but it's better than Xin Zhao in the matchup. And the reason for that is you're just so tanky that Xin Zhao really can't damage you. Plus, with your passive for Jarvan, you can out-trade a Xin Zhao, actually, if you play it right with your abilities, and you can actually land him. So over here now, we're forcing the Xin Zhao out of here and able to get the smite and the secure onto the dragon. And I already have 8 of our team's 13 kills. That's pretty insane. I have 11 kill participation out of our 13 kills. That's really good. But now looking at, they want to play around this Herald. I'm honestly a bit hesitant about that. I'm still not very comfortable with the Yasuo versus Fiora. So I actually kind of don't want to, so that's why I'm trying to ping him. It's okay if we give up the Herald. Instead, I'm just farming up, trying to see if I can push in another turret maybe in time. So sadly, they're dying. I'm trying to tell him not to engage onto that. The Xin Zhao shows up, so I start to head off to this mid lane, and I'm trying to wrap all the way around him here. See if I can catch him off guard. And I see the Senna heading back, and there's nothing they could do. See, once they flash, they have no escape out of your ult at all. So cool thing about your ult is it actually has a couple purposes. One, it traps them in there, of course. But two, it acts as a gap closer because the range is actually super large for the ultimate. Plus, it deals good damage. So you could use it for a burst of damage if you need that in like a really tight 1v1. Just need that extra damage. So here now, I just engage onto him, tank up all their abilities, and stone plate it. Sadly, I actually got bursted down a lot. I don't think my teammates definitely weren't in position. That's probably bad on my part, actually. I definitely should have been more aware that my teammates were not really ready to follow up. So now they're chasing pretty far. They ran right into the Lux route. Right now, I'm just placing my flag here. So something you could do is if you're super low on Jarvan, instead of just running away and just recalling all the way, what you could do first is actually drop your flag. Because if you don't know, your flag gives any allies around it an extra like 30% attack speed, or it's a lot, like 30% for everybody that's around a flag. That can be a complete game changer in a matchup like that. So as you can see, I just tried to drop it near where my teammates were and see if that helps them. In that case, they kind of were just too far behind to where nothing could happen, but in a lot of scenarios, it can be huge. So now I see the scuttle, and I definitely want it for the next dragon. Getting the scuttle is really important if you can get full vision of this area for the dragon. But one perk about Jarvan that makes him really good is his chain CC ability. So pretty much being able to chain your abilities with other champions. So for instance, the Lux. If I land my knockup or Lux lands their root, the other one of us can follow up with our own CC. And being able to chain stun somebody like that or chain root them for that long, it just, like, that's how you delete carries, essentially. Or with the Morgana in this case. That's why ganking that bot lane was pretty easy, just because the Morgana roots, if they can land them, it sets me up so well. So we're able to get the Baron, and now I'm looking to push this top side. I really don't think I need a shop again, so go back to farming. And I'm looking to push this top side turret down, if at all possible. This is a pretty big wave right here. Take the plant. And with the Baron buff, so Jarvan, you can actually use as a pretty decent split pusher along the side. So as you can see, I can actually outtrade this Fiora, especially with the Baron minions. But the entire enemy team comes. I still have my Guardian Angel. Let's see if I can get out of this. I did not expect them all to come right here, and I think I really caught that Xin Zhao off guard. But now they're all chasing me super far. My team's just pushing the mid lane. Sadly, the misfortune gets me. That was so unfortunate. That would have been such a clean escape, but my team literally just pushed the entire mid lane down while they were all chasing me, so that's fine. Plus, we got bot turret also. I definitely think that was worth it. Getting inhib turrets is huge. So sadly, our team is going down here. This is not looking like the best anymore. Our Lucian's in a bit of a tight spot. They're at least able to kill the misfortune. And I'm going to say something. This match, the misfortune's damage really surprised me. So like the last time I hardcore grinded this game was like 3 months ago or something. And at that time, Misfortune had a strong early game, but right after that early game ended, or if they didn't completely snowball, their damage was essentially like nothing in teamfights. But in this match, I really felt the Misfortune's damage, and it really did catch me off guard. So right now, I see that they're setting up for the dragon, and I feel like going for the steal here, because why not? I have a pretty decent secure with my flag plus my smite. Plus, look at our Lux can just completely root him up and everything. And one thing that's really important to notice in a case like this, so I'm able to get the steal, and just look at that damage. You have to be very cautious about that. In the Dragon Pit against champs like Lux, Katarina, Jarvan, all these area effect champs that have big AoE abilities. Wukong is a big one. I love to play Wukong, and when all the enemies are grouped in a Dragon Pit, that is my favorite sight to see. And that was literally how I pushed up to Grandmaster. Just people were so careless against Wukong, especially in that Dragon Pit, and you could really abuse that. But when you're looking to smite, something that I definitely recommend, and that's a good habit to build as a jungler, is checking how much damage your smite does. And over here, I overextended way too far. I got a bit too overzealous with that. I saw 4 of them grouped together, and I was like, oh, this looks juicy. But I definitely baited my team. I definitely shouldn't have done that. That was just for the funsies. But getting a good habit into looking at how much damage your smite does before you're looking for any objective is something that can be a complete game changer in smite battles and securing objectives. And that's just a good habit that I built up that I think pretty much every jungler needs. So at this point now, my damage is starting to fall off a bit. I can't really 1v1 these carries anymore as much. I can't really 1v1 a Misfortune or whoever else is on their team. Well, I guess I can I can't really 1v1 Zed. I just don't have enough damage anymore, because Jarvan's damage does fall off. But the thing is in the Jarvan versus Xin Zhao matchup, once you get to the late game, both of y'all's damage falls off, but Jarvan just provides so much more utility and tank than a Xin Zhao that you just have more value than Xin Zhao. So I do think in this matchup, Jarvan versus Xin Zhao, Jarvan wins, but I think if you're looking to play against assassins such as Kha'Zix or Lee Sin in the early game and all that, I do think Xin Zhao is actually the better choice. Just because I think all of his gap closing, all of his knockups in the early game especially, can do super well into him. So if you actually saw that this turret was super low, and I'm like, I'll just take this turret really quickly and keep on pushing this lane. Over here, see that they're all rotating on me. They can't really kill me. I still have everything up. So if they want to waste everything on me, they can go ahead. But now my team is right behind me, so I'm ready to turn onto this if I need to. Sadly, my team overextended a bit in the mid lane, and there really isn't anything I could do here. So now this is actually what I'm talking about, playing around your ADCs and your range carries. So actually, I'm literally just hanging around, and I'm trying to play around this Lux. So I see Lux lands the root, and then that's when I follow up after Lux does that. And I just trap him in there, making it easy for the Lux to land abilities also. And we're able to get the kill. Still have my Guardian Angel up, and me and this Lux are both kind of popping off this match. We're kind of hard carrying our other teammates. Although I did gank the bot lane a lot, and I got him a bunch of kills. Sadly, our ADC is... I mean, they're doing decent, but not what I was expecting. I was expecting a bit better. So now they're all attack damage, so I just opt for Dead Man's Plate next for the last item. So here I force out the Senna flash. I know Senna doesn't have flash at all, so I know I could chase him down. I have my ult too if I need that. And see, this is what I mean by your ult can be a good gap closer. It can help you get back onto him. So that's a free kill right there. And now with the Elder Inferno up, that's definitely something that we should be looking for. Or at least forcing the 5v4 over here while their Senna is down. So our Lux is recalling right now, and I was a bit disappointed at that. I think in a case like that, we just need the Lux here. But I see the Xin Zhao start to head this way, and I'm not going to take a smite battle for the Elder Inferno. So we're looking for this matchup over here. I'm trying to focus down the Xin Zhao. I see the Misfortune, and sadly, I get my Guardian Angel popped. The Lux finally shows up and kills the Xin Zhao, and I'm able to get the smite, which is really nice. But now we're just trying to kite back, and I'm trying to see if this Lux lands a route, I'll re-engage, but the Lux definitely put in work when they came back. I definitely think we could have, like, look at that damage. Oh my gosh. That is wild. You can kind of see me freaking. I'm like, oh, that damage is so nasty. They're so fed. Jeez. But in that fight there, I wasn't going to take the smite battle for an Elder Inferno, so when the enemies appeared, my two options were either focusing down the Xin Zhao, because one, if I kill the Xin Zhao, then he can't smite at all, of course, or two, killing the Misfortune, which is their main damage dealer, and we'd probably win the fight if we did that. So those are the two that I wanted to focus. I didn't really want to focus the Fiora, because the Fiora isn't going to do too much. So now I kind of wanted to take this, but doesn't seem... I don't know if my team wants to do this. Looks like the Lux doesn't, so we just decide to opt out of this. And it should be fine because we have all 4 dragons, but honestly, even though we have all 4 dragons, it seems like we're struggling more than we should. Like, yeah, I've gotten every single dragon this match, but I would expect with 4 dragons that we would be hard destroying, but it seems to be a bit iffy. So over here, the Xin Zhao uses a combo on me, and see what I mean by the Xin Zhao's combo literally does nothing to me. And see, this Misfortune's damage is definitely surprising me. I definitely should have stone plated earlier. I was not expecting that, and that's kind of at that moment that I was like, wait, Misfortune does so much damage, actually. I really needed to be more careful for that. But our team was able to get that, and we pushed another inhib turret. And now with 2 inhib turrets, it's looking like we should be able to clean up. Plus with all the dragons. Plus, if you look at the inhib turrets that we actually have that bot lane inhib turret. And the reason why that's so key is because by getting that bot lane inhib turret, that bot lane is always going to be pushing in. And if you look at where the Baron is, it's on the top side of the map, meaning that if that bot lane is always pushing and somebody always has to clear it, we could force a pretty good 5v4 at the Baron if we need to. So now I finally get my last item. I'm full build. And for the runes, I'm running I'm running Aftershock for the tankiness, because that's what Xin Zhao is super strong at. Aftershock, Brutal, Conditioning, and then Pathfinder. Or no, that's what Jarvan's really good at. I think I said Xin Zhao. But now I'm taking the blue buff. I'm letting my carries have the red buff for sure at this stage of the game because my damage is not that much and they're going to be the ones dealing majority of the damage. So now I'm looking to push this top side, just putting pressure on all the lanes pretty much, because if they lose this inhib turret with 3 inhib turrets down, I don't think there's any way that they can win at all. So I see my team's fighting, but I'm looking to just push down this last lane here. See if I can get good engage onto this Misfortune, and I just trap him in here and stone plate, and look how much damage this turret does to me. Literally nothing. I'm literally still full health, except for that Misfortune ult there, just kind of wrecked me a bit. But just look at stone plate plus your flag with Jarvan. It's so strong. But if you're enjoying, make sure to like and subscribe if you have not. Actually, when I posted my video like 2 days ago, a bunch of people unsubscribed because I hadn't uploaded in like 3 months. So I think a bunch of people were like, oh wait, this guy still exists, but I don't watch him anymore. So if you're enjoying, do make sure to like and subscribe if you want. And you could kind of tell how bad the MS was. You could see how bad it's loading. You can kind of tell how choppy it is. But anyways, that's going to be it. I hope y'all enjoy, and I'll see y'all in the next video.